Why? Like, that's your nightmare? I feel like getting kidnapped and murdered by bears who do it like slowly, one claw at a time, just peeling the skin from my bones is much worse than stomach cancer. Stomach cancer you can explain, but murderous bears that are torturing humans? That's fucked up beyond any sort of belief.
You want to launch us into this thing? Want to give it put a little English on it?
Hello. Welcome to the What a Disaster podcast. I'm your host, Gregory Allen, and with me, as usual, is Richard Sawasinski.
Unfortunately, Liz got lost in the Arctic North. She's unable to.
God, that's where she is. You just came over. You left, and then you told me to put some English on it on the intro. Like, you don't even seem upset.
Listen, it's fine. When we're done here, we'll go looking for.
Does she have batteries to transmit like anything about where she might be?
I mean, she does, but she has the Pokemon and being in the Arctic North. You know, the rare Pokemon that are up there.
Yeah,
I told her to not worry about like getting a hold of us and just worry about catching her mons.
For sure.
Yeah,
no, I totally get it. All right, well, I mean, if you're listening to this, you being like the audience, you, not you, Richard, the one that I'm looking at, and you want to chat with us?
I do.
Richard, stop. I'm not talking to you.
Oh,
I'm talking.
Sorry.
To the audience. If you'd like to chat with us, not you, Richard, the audience.
Okay.
You can, I mean, if you want to chat with us, you don't have to follow us on Twitter, I don't think, but it probably would help me feel better. Mm-hmm. You can follow us on Twitter. We're at Podwad. We're on the Facebook, of course. We're on Instagram as Wad Podcast.
I think so.
Yeah, Wad Podcast. That sounds right.
Yeah.
It's the same as our Twitter, but completely different. Right?
Yeah. You know, it's if you find one, you can find all because we link to everything.
That's true. Everything links from everything else. So if you find one, you can find the others.
Facebook's probably the easiest way to find us, but Zuckerberg is a lifeless android, and it's shithead. It's a lifeless android who's stealing your clicks.
Yeah.
So you don't want him to have all your clicks.
No. What's he doing with all our clicks?
He's keeping them in like a click cave.
Do you think he's got like a vault, a click? Do you think he dives through clicks like Scrooge McDuck in his vault?
I haven't even thought about that. Of course he does.
Just swimming through our clicks.
Yeah. But if you weren't him, you would get like impaled by clicks.
Yeah, you'd just land right on top of them. But because it's Zuckerberg stuff, they would explode and kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
perfect. Fucked up. Zuckerberg is such a piece of shit.
He's horrible.
Awful.
Terrible.
The worst.
I hate him.
Yeah, you can also call. You can leave us a voicemail. Maybe we'll answer it. That's always a possibility too. The phone number is 209-781-9113.
I didn't put the 3 out here, but you do it anyways. Oh, you have a homework assignment, Greg.
Write a jingle.
You're gonna learn. You're learning the piano.
The piano.
I want you to use the silliest sound and make us a little jingle.
All right. Yeah. So if you haven't already like grabbed your phone and started calling to ask us questions about what we're doing right now, this immediate right now, you'd never get a hold of us because you're not listening to this live while recording it. We're not doing this live.
No,
not for your sake. Jesus.
There's like 6 cuts before we even got to this part.
You are really needy. You know what?
Yeah.
That's like really. You want us to do this live for you every single time? This take a little bit of effort. We both put minimal effort into this. I mean, a lot of effort into this.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff just keeps calling me. Jeff,
again.
Jeff, please just stop, man.
Seriously.
Quit.
And that's his personal cell phone. You're not even calling the WAD podcast emergency helpline.
I don't even know how he got that. I mean, after the restraining order, you know what? I don't want to get into it. My lawyer. There's an open case.
Yeah.
Jeff, just chill, man.
Jeff, please chill.
You're not doing yourself any favors.
0 favors, Jeff, stop. All right. So, welcome to the episode of WAD Podcast today.
Oh, wait, what number are we? I meant to write that in there.
Oh, you know what? You didn't put it down, but I will kill time telling people that we're in the Podcastle at Greg Podcastle Studios, recording this one live in front of nobody. You're more than welcome to come over. Like, I'm cool with visitors. If you want to come hang out, I'll hang out.
I'm already hanging out, so
yeah, Richard's here. I'm here. Come hang out.
I can't hang out twice, but I'll try.
Yeah. See what we can do. So today we're watching the 1953 airplane disaster film, Island in the Sky. Which is actually, I feel like, less a airplane disaster and more a stranded in the middle of nowhere disaster.
Yeah.
And
I struggled to classify it, so I called it an airplane disaster movie.
Sure.
We were at episode 41, actually, believe it or not.
41. This
Wow.
is season 3, episode 3?
Yeah, 4.
Episode 4, season 3, episode 4. That's good.
Yeah.
This was based on a book, right?
Yeah, this was based on a book of the same name, and actually the screenplay writer was the same person who wrote the book.
Oh,
so it's a pretty,
I like when that happens because that usually they can figure out how they want to tell the story in the different medium.
I wonder if the book was as aggressively boring as the film.
I feel like a book can only be as boring as your imagination lets it.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of read faster in the parts that like are boring you. Like when I read Tolkien's books, for example, if they sang a song, I was like, how many pages does this song go? It's a little hard to do that in the movie.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to miss anything by fast forwarding it.
Fast forward. And you can't fast forward the whole theater. People get mad about that.
Did we say this movie was made in 1953?
Mm-hmm.
That's old.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the color was broken. That was
the
weird.
The color was broken,
yeah,
yes.
It was weird.
So what we watched one that was in color that was older than this, 51?
Yeah, the last one was in color.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
Why aren't they making movies in color yet in the 50s?
I think it's an expense thing at this point still.
I
wasn't all the color done in post-production.
Who cares?
Back then?
I don't know. What do I look like? Some sort of 1950s movie fucking nerd?
No, but you think from now on, if we know these movies ahead of time, like
where's Nick? Tell Nick to tell us
how the color did.
Yeah. How's the color done in old movies? I don't know if you know about movies in general or if it's just the disaster movies or what, but I'm curious.
Man, can we get serious for a minute?
Yeah, serious.
Just you and I.
Yeah, just me, buddy.
We owe Nick a lot of apologies.
We owe him at least 3 apologies at this point.
Like so Nick wrote me last week and was like, so you guys gonna call me? Here's my number. And I was like, here's the thing, Nick.
It's been rough.
I don't have a show. I didn't have a show. I'm sorry, man. It was a team effort at failure, but we failed.
We did fail together.
I didn't want to call him today because we're trying to get back on schedule, and Greg and I have a lot in our plates, and that's why we're so fat.
We're fat because we eat everything that's on our plate, which are very full.
Yeah, you're right.
We have a lot on our plate because we want to keep getting fatter.
Yeah, correct. So we owe Nick. And Nick, I told you I was going to call you for this movie. I didn't tell you that today because, like I said, I didn't want to tell you 2, and we ended up doing 4, which is what we ended up doing. So
yeah, we fucked this up. Nick,
we love you.
It's my fault. This is 100% on me. It's the holiday season. I was out longer than I wanted to be trying to do some gift shopping. Some shopping for gifts. I got a good gift for Leopold.
He's gonna be so excited.
He's not going to listen to this, so I will tell you what it is. It is the boat playset from The Incredibles 2.
Oh,
and Leopold loves boats. And this is a boat that is also a toy, unlike these ridiculous fucking models that we buy for him that he just keeps breaking the masts off of.
Oh, and then it gets sad.
Yeah, he's such a baby.
He's just,
He acts like a 4-year-old when this stuff
You think he would just grow up and be a 5-year-old.
So, here we go. We've got the 1953 disaster film, Island in the Sky, about they're ex-military, or are they military currently? This crew, John Wayne's crew.
They are. I know they're civilians helping the military with deliveries. It's post World War II.
Yeah.
So some of these people were in the military, but they're all civilians now.
Okay.
There's actually a couple times they're like, you can't order me around. Like,
yeah,
you're like my boss, but you're not my boss.
You're not my superior officer.
I can't go to jail for saying no to you.
Right.
Right. No threat of violence for saying no.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't really a challenge question necessarily, so we'll just do it this way. We'll both give the plot breakdown. So, do you have your timer out, or do you want me to get my timer out? I'll put my timer. I'll put timer on the clock. All right, I've got 30 seconds on the clock. Richard, break down the plot of this movie, which was directed by William A. Wellman and based on a novel written by Ernest K. Gann. Ready, steady, go.
Thank you, Greg. Island in the Sky is a movie about how boring it would be to spend 6+ days stuck in the cold-ass middle of nowhere after your plane freezes out of the sky. It's a movie about survival. It's a movie about death. And it's a movie about John Wayne.
He wrote it down, and he did not practice it because it took him about 8 seconds before he was done with what he had written down.
I know, it's so quick. We can talk about anything. How are you? I'm great.
I'm great, thank you.
How many 30 seconds do I have left?
All right, you're out of time now. So that's great. I'm glad you wrote it down and did not realize that it would not last anywhere near 30 seconds. I'm impressed. And you did keep it going, so you'll get extra points for that.
Thank you.
And I'm going to break this down. Ready, set, and go. So Island in the Sky is about a bunch of people who decided that it was cool to like fly where they shouldn't be flying, and when they realized they couldn't land any fucking where, decided to fly further north so that the ice that was built up would get better and stronger. And maybe they were hoping that would protect their plane from crashing when they had to crash into the forest. It was like extra shielding. Then they crash. One of the guys bites it, and the rest get rescued. And it was just kind of dull. And John Wayne being John Wayne.
Yeah, perfect timing. You were like right at the 30 on that.
Yeah.
You know, they did crash their plane. Didn't crash it, landed it. But the reason why they flew out there is because John Wayne said it's flatter. Or we call him, his name's Dooley in this.
Yeah, Dooley.
Papa Sky Dad.
Papa Sky Dad.
He was like, it's flatter
Papa
there.
Dooley. Papa Sky Dad Dooley. Papa Dooley. I like Papa Dooley.
You like Papa Dooley?
I like Papa
All right.
Dooley.
Okay, we'll go with
Pappy
Papa
Dooley?
Dooley. Pappy Dooley?
Papa Dooley.
All right, Papa Dooley.
Sounds like that pasta.
It does sound like that pasta.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
those fat noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some sauce.
Papa Dooley.
Maybe some cheese.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Parmesan.
Oh.
Get some Parmesan on there.
Parmesan.
It's great stuff, my friend. You try it with the pasta sauce and the Parmesan.
Is that your Italian accent?
I don't know what that was.
Is that what that is?
It was an accent.
It's like Super Mario Brother accent.
It's a me, a Mario.
Read
Middle
what
C.
IMDb said about this, Greg.
Middle C.
It's back. It's your song. What did IMDb say about this movie?
IMDb described the movie as a C-47 transport plane named the Corsair makes a forced landing in the frozen wastes of Quebec, and the plane's pilot, Captain Dooley, must keep his men alive in deadly conditions while waiting for rescue. The Duke. I hear a lot about how great John Wayne is from
Pilgrim.
old people. And I've watched a bunch of John Wayne movies, and very few of them made me think, wow, John Wayne is great. Every movie I've seen with John Wayne is John Wayne being the same person.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time. He's not good. He's just not. And maybe it's because it's that generation, that man's man era, where it's just tough guys got to be tough, silent, just making sure it gets done and tell people how to do things without taking any guff.
Yeah, the man in charge, the Duke, John Wayne, Pilgrim.
It did not hold up, in my opinion. That whole mentality is just, well, first, it's gross. And second, it's ineffective.
It was always bad for society.
Yeah.
It was never good for society.
People love watching it, apparently.
Did your dad growing up watch John Wayne movies ever? He's a little young for that.
Yeah, my dad watched some John Wayne movies. He was more into Clint Eastwood.
More his era.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood was a little more like edgy.
And yeah, I would say for sure Clint Eastwood is edgy, and his movies are generally better.
Yeah,
Man,
John Wayne westerns are bad. Those spaghetti westerns, like my grandfather raised me.
Yeah.
So he was a Korean War vet, so just the right age for John Wayne.
Yep.
And he would fall asleep on the couch. Like before I started school, he'd fall asleep on the couch, and I would just be stuck watching these John Wayne movies. As soon as he starts speaking, I get a little nostalgic, but I also get very sleepy. like, oh, it's nap time. I need a peanut butter jelly sandwich and a nap.
Peanut bro and jelly.
Yeah.
No, I can see that, especially since it's just kind of what happened when he was watching them.
He does have a great voice. Like, it cuts through those cheap old mics really well. Like, I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, it certainly carries better than ours.
The way he delivers his lines.
Well, he gets that little that lilt or whatever you want to call it, and
it gets worse as he gets older. Like, he's a little younger in this film. He never doesn't look young, but he's definitely a little younger.
He looks terrible in all of his movies.
Oh, so bad.
Nolan, wake up. Come on, Mac, wake up. The field wants you to come right over.
Get out of here.
Give me them flags. No, Mac, now please. You and Fitzer gotta get up. They want you at the field right now.
Get Fitch up then and leave me be.
Please, Mac. I ain't gonna wake you up no more if you keep heaving me out of the window.
Yeah, all right. I'm sorry, Rennie. Close the dang window.
And nobody mattered in this movie. Like, there was never anything that was going to happen to any of these people. It was just conversations, and then conversations in airplanes, and then conversations in the snow.
Oh yeah.
This is a whole damn movie. It's just conversations. There's no risk of no existential threat aside from what we were made aware of at the start. And even that proved to be inconsequential.
Right.
Middle C! Welcome to Rick's Fact Corner, where Rick tells us facts in a corner.
Where Greg makes me sit when I come over his house.
Yeah, I mean, like 100%. It's taped off. My kids aren't allowed in there because of infections, and
Yeah, it's getting
Richard's
gross.
not allowed out of them unless he's wearing a hazmat suit.
Yeah,
So,
but it's gross. I'm like, it's like reverse bubble boy.
yep.
So this is what I found out. I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole with this one, Greg. I got a couple of facts about Bill Wellman, William Wellman, Wild Bill, as he was known by
Billy
his friends.
Wellman, huh?
Yeah, he actually was known as Wild Bill by his friends.
Yeah, I don't care. Sounds like a twerp.
Oh, he's a big old piece of shit. Mr. Wellman, he acted in a few films after. First, he was a pilot in the French, some sort of French Lafayette airborne troop. I guess he was part of some more international, like.
Was he part of World War II?
No, it was a little
vet?
bit post World War II, I believe. It was some sort of international French military. I don't know. I couldn't figure out what missions he flew in, and I don't know enough about the history. I kind of skimmed over it.
Sure.
But he was shot down. So he served. He was, I guess, a man's man for that.
What a guy.
When he got done being a pilot, some of his pilot friends were like, you're pretty handsome. I'm working in Hollywood. You should come be an actor. And he was like, sure, why not? So Mr. Wellman, he acted in a couple of films, the last of which was called Evangeline.
Okay.
And he was fired
Evangeline?
he was fired for slapping the lead actress, who happened to be married to the director of that movie.
Like, who the
Yeah.
fuck? I don't know what was going on in history. Everybody's so aggressive.
Yeah, why is that okay?
It's not. It's never been effective. It's just.
He was only fired because it was his wife, the director's wife, too.
For sure.
If it was just like a normal actress, he would have been fine.
Yep.
That's the cynic in me, but I believe that because he had a long career acting like this.
Yeah.
A very long career acting like this. So another interesting fact about Mr. Wellman
Tell me.
is he won an Academy Award for Best Original Story for the original A Star Is Born.
Oh.
So there
was his?
Yeah, it was his.
Oh.
Yeah, well, he directed it. He didn't write it. He directed
Right.
it.
Okay.
But, so that was his. Like I said, he was he joined the
You're
foreign.
talking about the original A Star Is Born,
Yeah,
not
it
this
was-
new one with Lady Gaga.
The original was like a 1947 movie or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah. They remade it with the Lady Gaga and
So you said
Rocket
that
Raccoon or whatever.
His flight was not during World War II?
I don't know.
I feel like if he directed a movie in 47,
He was in the Foreign Legion.
I don't know.
I don't know what that even means.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Necessarily.
Let's be real. We're not worldly people, Richard and I.
So a few other things about how Mr. Wellman is a piece of shit. He didn't like male actors because he thought they were too vain. I mean, you're in front of camera. You have to be a little vain.
Yeah, for sure.
And he didn't like female actors even more because they took too long to get ready because they had put on makeup and had to primp. So he just hated actors. He hated actors. And everybody who worked with him said he was aggressive, drunk on set all the time. Just an incredible piece of shit. He had 5 ex-wives. So he was really did real well with commitment. There's one woman who worked in the industry, quoted saying, Wellman is a terror. A shoot him up the town fellow, whatever the hell that means. Trying to be a great, big, masculine, I don't know what. So basically she's saying this dude just walked around just constantly acting like a tough guy.
Right.
Never dropped the act.
Oh, he flew in World War I.
Oh, okay. It wasn't clear in his biography what wars he fought in.
Yeah.
It didn't say.
French Foreign Legion is a highly trained infantry force based out of France that accepts foreign recruits.
Okay, because he wasn't French, but he really wanted to fly.
He wanted to be French.
No, he wanted to fly.
I'm just kidding.
Like one of the most interesting things about him and before he was a complete asshole was he just really wanted to be a pilot more than anything else. And he had all these other opportunities to do other things. But he said, I wanted to be a pilot. So he went ahead and joined. And he got shot down, And he spent the rest of his life bragging about how brave he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we watch this movie, I feel better about not really caring for it because Mr. Wellman is somebody I don't really care for as a human in history. But he gave up on acting. He hated it. Because you can't just slap people around apparently as an actor,
Right.
but as a director, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. You can't fire the director unless you're a producer. As long
Right.
as he doesn't slap a producer's wife, he's probably fine.
And he won another Academy Award for his movie Wings, which was a film about flying. He had a lot of flying films because he was a pilot.
Yeah.
And
Do what you know.
so that's what I have for Richard's Fact Corner.
All right, Richard's Fact Corner is over. Middle C. I think you'll find that the middle C is a recurring theme of this episode because I'm sitting in front of my keyboard. All right, Let's take a quick break, but stick with us because when we back,
we'll be back.
All right, well, we're going to break, but stick with us because when we come back, we're going to fly through the first few acts of Island in the Sky.
I am an airplane. I was born in man's dream for conquering time and space. I'm made of thunder and lightning, of steel and power. But part of me is composed of the hearts and souls of the men who fly me. For them, I am their island in the sky, their private domain aloft, alone, where they rule, unlimited, unchallenged, until...
We're in a jam. Icing up, losing altitude. We're turning northwest until we run out of gas.
Well, if we go northwest, Captain, we'll fly right off the map. It says uncharted up that way.
Well, you're down. Right in the middle of a big nowhere. They're all dependent on you. They ate today and they're still strong. But tomorrow... So find food, that's number one. Find out where nowhere is, that's number two. Then you can help the others find nowhere. They'll come. They won't leave you alone waiting on a pinpoint nowhere.
And despite the weather and my desire to not be in the same room as Richard, we have landed safely and are ready to discuss the first few acts of Island in the Sky. So... I could not help but notice that nobody in this movie put their tray table in the upright and locked position.
It's dangerous.
Everybody maintained the reclined position, especially Big Swimmer.
Oh yeah, big swimmer.
Big Swimmer.
Yeah. You guys don't know who Big Swimmer is yet, but you'll know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're gonna know. Real quick. First act. They're flying. There's ice on the wings. They decide to land somewhere north and off course from where they were planning on going because
Dooley said it would be flat.
It would be flat. The northern lights and various other visibility was low. They couldn't land in any of their pre-planned available destinations.
And they have drift it because the compasses don't work properly in a northern area.
They were getting all screwed up.
And their iPhones were dead. So
iPhones were dead.
GPS.
They couldn't use the GPS.
Yeah.
The Garmins were also, they were stowed in the upper bins and the stewardess wouldn't let them get them out.
Yeah.
So
you mean flight attendant?
It's 1953. It's a stewardess.
You're right. I'm wrong.
I mean,
you're right.
I appreciate you're right. Trying to bring it into the modern era. I agree with you. It should be flight attendant.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting you.
It's flight attendant and flight attendant S, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
when they're male flight attendants, they're flight attendants. When they're female flight attendants, they're flight attendantess, like waiter and waitress, and actor and actress.
It's important that you know what gender the people who are waiting on you are.
Gendered words are really important for some reason. I'm shaking my head no, but nobody can see that but Richard.
Oh, I can see it. As he shakes his head, yes.
It drives people nuts that I say actor for both male and female.
It makes sense to me.
Why
would I use a longer word?
First of all, they don't rate enough to get a syllable, all right? I mean, it's not even a syllable. It's actress. It's two syllables, same one. But they don't get my S's, all right?
No. You don't want my S's.
They're actor.
Which is nothing but spit.
It's male. When there's a group of male actors, when it's a group of females, it's actor. There's a group of female actor there. They don't get S's.
They don't get S's.
Because they're women.
I was wondering what you were talking about.
Yeah.
If it's a group of male actors, it's called a gaggle.
Yeah. It's a gaggle of male actors. And it's a trauma induction if it's a group of female actors.
Right. So Dooley lands his plane.
Yeah. Middle of damn nowhere.
In middle of nowhere. Softer than the times I've been on Spirit Airlines. It just was like, it was a smooth landing. I expected to hear like a round of applause and it was great. But he landed it on like the snow ground.
Every Karen in the back of the plane stood up and clapped when they finally got to the terminal.
Standing ovation.
Yep. From every, I need to see your manager in the back.
It reminds me of that time I told that really funny joke at the grocery store. And then everybody clapped.
So and you know what? Before we go into Act 2, we're going to do our beer review.
Oh yeah, let's talk about this. What is this strange brew you brought us?
This one is, I don't know if you have ever, it's got a thing in there that shoots
widget.
nitrogen. Shoots nitrogen into the beer.
A nitro widget.
Who's the brewery on this one? It's brewed in Ireland by Guinness and Company.
Who?
At the St. James Gate Brewery. They've been around. They're relatively new. The brewery has been around since 1759, which is just like, in the grand scheme of things, just a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is Guinness Draft Stout. Small brew. Nobody's really heard of this one. And no, actually, I picked this one because it's very well known, and everybody says they love it, but it does not stand the test of time, just like John Wayne.
Just like
John Wayne.
The John Wayne of beers.
It was a deliberate choice. I did really like the art on the can, though. It's got the Guinness lion on it,
yeah, this is a
which
pretty
is
good
great.
The tones on the line are awesome.
And
Also, did you know this, Greg? Hold on a second. On the back of this, it says,
listen to me, and this is a direct quote. Government warning. 1. According to the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic beverages. Consumption of alcoholic beverages impairs your ability to drive a car or operate machinery and may cause health problems.
if it's a movie, I think the director of this movie wrote the Surgeon General warning on the back of this can.
There would be some ellipses after should not drink alcoholic beverages if I had written that. But I did not. I said it out loud and omitted some words. Yeah, like during pregnancy. Yeah.
Don't drink while you're pregnant, ladies.
So, what do you think of the Guinness, Richard?
It tastes like a Guinness. I mean, it's smooth.
If you haven't had a Guinness,
great finish, and it's a lot weaker than you think it is.
It's
also like John Wayne.
Also like John Wayne. Didn't he die of like cancer or something? What did John Wayne die from? Tell you what we're gonna do.
He's still alive, Greg.
Oh, is he?
No, John Wayne's been dead for a bit.
The cause of death of John Wayne was stomach cancer.
Yeah, died of cancer.
That's horrible. Stomach cancer, though, is like that's my like nightmare.
Why?
Like
that's your nightmare?
I have a lot of stomach problems.
I feel like getting kidnapped and murdered by bears who do it like slowly, one claw at a time, just peeling the skin from my bones is much worse than stomach cancer.
Well, I mean,
stomach cancer you can explain, but murderous bears that are torturing humans, that's fucked up beyond
first off,
any sort of belief.
I have two things to say about that. One is, don't nightmare shame me. And number two,
I'm ashamed of your nightmare.
Your brain is terrifying, and I hate you for that. Like kind of like Goldilocks, but instead of them just being mad at you,
for sure. They
tie you
down.
Yeah.
They let you get hungry, and they give you just enough food to keep you alive, but not enough to satisfy you and make you feel healthy and good. And then they start peeling the skin from your body as it
after months
from
of
your
malnutrition,
and your tissues and sinew starts to give from malnutrition.
And they use your skin to upholster all their
At first,
furniture.
They give you enough time to heal between each layer they remove from your body, each fresh strip, as they slowly remove it from you.
Man, you can get infected so quickly.
And then
though.
they pour hot porridge on the wounds, open wounds.
Hot porridge to cauterize it.
This is Daddy's porridge, right on the open wound.
It's too hot.
That's right.
This is Mama's porridge.
Once in a while.
Why is it so cold?
Once in a while, though, they'll pour baby bear's porridge right on your wound, and you'll think, now that is just right. But then they come back for another piece of skin.
Oh, man. By the twisted mind of Rob Zombie.
You know what the worst part
bears.
about this is? These 3 bears, they're not even killing you to eat you. They're just they're throwing your skin into their composter.
It's for fun.
Just
they might keep your skin later for like a human skin, right?
They're intelligent bears with opposable thumbs. You're doomed. They can run 35 miles an hour. Try and run. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
They'll get you.
Go up a tree, good luck. They can climb,
They can climb trees.
You know they can run sideways?
They can run sideways. They can run front ways. They can rear up on their hind legs and be like 10 feet fucking tall.
They can have anything they want from me.
Don't fuck with hyper smart bears with opposable thumbs.
Oh.
Just get out of their house, man. If you're in the woods and you see a bear house, don't go in.
And if you see 2 or 3 bears having a legitimate human conversation, just walk the other direction.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You have nothing valuable to add to that. Just check your privilege, go home. All right? Bears don't need it from you.
Sonny boy, you forgot your Wheaties this morning. From now on, we start a coffee grinder watch. Every 30 minutes, somebody's going to be cranking that there gadget as long as they can.
But what about this movie where nothing happens?
Yeah. Man, The fact that we have no movie to talk about, and so we talk about making up our own movies about bears peeling the skin from your bones, should speak volumes about how we felt about this particular movie.
There's only like 3 major plot points.
Seriously, it's so. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
They crashed, Greg. 6
It
days
wasn't
of
a
food.
crash.
Oh, yeah.
It was an emergency landing.
Emergency landing.
Wheels
It should have
down
been
on a lake.
a lesser man would have crashed.
This is Dooley.
This is Dooley. This is Papa Dooley or whatever.
Papa Dooley.
We decided to call him. They have 6 days of food, at most. Good thing one of them does freeze to death eventually, so then they only have to worry about like rationing for the other 4. They have 6 days of food. They have some battery in the plane, and they have an emergency radio thing that you hand crank. They called it the coffee grinder. Dooley does send a radio signal out that gets printed out in this cool like typewriter.
I
printing
loved
thing.
that part.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Seeing it type the words, I was into that.
That was height of technology at the time. Really neat. He was saying,
50s facts.
50s facts it was. All civilian pilots who are involved in this group that does all the deliveries throughout the northwest area, like
Sure.
Iceland and shit. He's like, coming out, try to find us. We fucked. So that's when everybody kind of gets together. That's when you get these 3
Why were they in
teams.
Iceland? Why were they communicating with Iceland? They were in Canada. They were like in Western Canada.
Dude, they kept talking about like
Midwestern.
landing in Iceland and shit or Greenland. I don't even know.
Well, that was at the beginning when they were
Yeah.
trying to find a place to go. But they weren't going to be able to go northeast, so they ended up having to go northwest.
Yeah, uncharted land.
Yeah,
basically.
they called it uncharted land. He was like, "It's flat," and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, Papa Dooley,"
How would you even know?
because it's
Papa Dooley's
it's
wise.
Quebec, he knows everything. He's
Right.
Papa Dooley.
So they scrambled 3 civilian teams, and I gave each of them names. The first team is Team Big Swimmer, because we meet this kind of overweight guy with his kids at the YMCA, and he's swimming. He's the only guy who takes his shirt off in the whole movie.
Yeah, they're like at the
Yeah.
Y, swimming with his kids, and he just sends them home.
And he just like the camera's just like rested on their butts when they go to swim for way too long.
You know?
we get to stare at this like 300-pound man's ass.
They didn't understand filming action quite as they do now.
Right.
Plus, styles change, and sometimes
Sometimes people want to see like a 300-pound man's ass. Of all the asses we got to look
I
at,
was a larger than 300-pound man.
you think so?
Oh, for sure.
He was a big man.
I was pushing 300 pounds for a while there. I know what 300 pounds looks like.
Fair
That
enough.
was bigger than
He could swim though. Beat the
did
shit out of his
swim,
kids.
yeah.
I mean, he was tall enough to get to the other side of the pool in like 3 strokes,
Yeah.
but he beat the shit out of his kids. So he
He did not beat his children in the movie.
He beat them in swimming.
He defeated them in a race,
and then he made them go home.
and then he sent
On
them
their
on the bus. Find your way home, shitheads. He said.
He did
as
say-
he shoved them back into the pool.
He did say, "Can you find your
They
own
were
way home?"
in their clothes in the middle of winter, and he shoved them back into the pool. Called them shitheads. And
I don't think you
find
watched
their way
this
home.
movie, Greg.
I watched this movie. That was the part right before he killed his wife, right?
Yeah, yeah. You didn't watch this movie, so he does tell his kids like, it's a sign of the era. He goes, "You guys get home all right, right?" One kid's got at most 8 or 9 years old, and the other kid is like 4.
Yeah, it's like a 10-year-old and maybe a 5 or 6-year-old.
And they're like, "Yeah, we got this. We'll take the bus."
Sure, man.
Okay. Or the trolley or whatever it is they
Thanks,
call it.
air quotes, Dad.
So that's Team Big Swimmer. He's the captain of a team.
He's big and he's a swimmer, and he's the captain of the plane.
Yep. Actually, my favorite character in the movie. He's pretty funny.
I did enjoy him as a character.
And he was
He's the only redeeming part of this movie, in my opinion.
exactly. And this whole part where they're showing us this team of people is all done through comedic beats, comedic
God,
music.
yeah.
It's
That was so disjointed versus everything else, the tone of the rest of the movie. It
They're like-
was, and I think it was part of old Billy Wellman trying to show how much he appreciated man's men doing man's man things.
dude, manning around. Billy Wellman also, Wild Bill. He's a director of a handful of comedy movies as well. So he does slapstick. He has a couple slapstick movies behind him. So he was just showing off his full range.
Yeah,
as a director.
slapstick stuff. Like the abusive comedy of the 50s does not stand the test of time. If you're curious, it doesn't.
And that's where we get introduced to Team Man Thrower. Team Man Thrower has a very handsome looking like football captain guy and
6'3", probably, maybe
Yeah.
a little taller.
pretty stocky, obviously lifts some weights. This
Thick
little
fellow.
Yeah, big old fellow. This little guy comes up, probably about 5'3", and he's like 10 years older than him. And he comes up to wake him up, and he's just like this beta, like head down kind of dude. And Mac, when he gets woken up by the guy who's
Now, hang on. Now, you sound upset at how Mac reacted to this guy. This guy, it comes in there and is gently like pulling on the blanket, Hey, buddy, it's time to wake up, buddy. Come on, buddy. And then he sticks his whole hand in the guy's butt.
Oh, did he?
And like his whole hand went right up Mac's butt.
It was probably cold as hell.
Like it was through the blanket, but still, it was a butt full of fist that he got from this guy.
That's why Mac was mad. So Mac gets up, chases him down, picks him up like what is that move in wrestling? Like across the front of his body.
I mean, it would have been like a body slam.
Yeah,
but pre-body slam.
Carries him out to the window, which is already open for some reason in the middle of fucking winter.
Mac likes it cold, man.
Mac likes it chilly.
That's why they're sending Mac to go rescue Papa Dooley.
True.
Because he can stand the cold.
He can handle it. He throws this dude out the window into the snow. Just tosses him. Throws him.
Seriously, chucked him right out into this giant snowdrift that's just outside the window.
And his co-pilot has this like tally thing where he like
how many times he's thrown somebody out the window.
But maybe it's how many times that little guy's grabbed Mac's ass. Maybe that's what he's because I got another ass grab. There we go.
Mac's pissed because he got his butt fisted again.
Yeah, but that's all you really get from Mac. He throws a man around. He's man thrower.
Nothing particular. I mean, maybe in the 50s it was funny, but once again, it just does not hold up.
It didn't hold up. It wasn't that funny. And then we got Team Exhausted. It's just a team of people who just got back from a run and they're just tired and they want to go out and search right away. They're the only ones who make any sense to me. They're like, yeah, we got to go right now.
And everybody's like, just chill out.
Yeah.
Take a nap. And they're like, fine, 4 hours, that's it. Then we're gone.
Yeah. Because they're like, you're not going to be any help to anybody we got to go looking for you too.
Yeah. That's exactly what they said. It's not going to help Dooley if we have to go find you too.
And that's Team Exhausted. And these are our crackpot pilots who are going to find Dooley. And this is actually based on a true story.
Is it based on a true story?
Yes. William K. Gann wrote the book Island in the Sky, and it was based on a similar scenario that he was involved in because he was also a pilot. This is made entirely by pilots, which is kind of cool, which is why we get the movie opens with a monologue where it's just pilot circle jerking. He's like, pilots are the greatest men ever.
Yeah.
So brave. So daring. Don't you just love pilots? Go hug a pilot.
I will say,
give a pilot all your money. He's the best.
Maybe it's how romanticized that style of plane was after World War II.
Yeah.
I really like the fucking planes in this movie.
Yeah, those like C-47s.
Yeah,
they call them.
They all look great.
They're awesome planes, and they were no special effects. Everything was done with these planes. There's very few sets. It was just,
they just crashed a plane in the middle of nowhere.
Landed it.
Yeah, sorry. Yep, emergency landing.
It was a smooth landing.
They actually sent these quote-unquote actors into the wilderness to die. That was their intention, but then John Wayne had friends that came out to rescue him.
Perfect.
And they were like, you know what? Let's document this. And they did a documentary-style film of John Wayne's friends.
Perfect. It's exactly what I was thinking. Ernest Gann, he wrote this. He did this movie based on a book that he wrote, and it was based on a true life thing. And you can actually read about that if you buy the book Fate is the Hunter, which is an autobiographical book that he wrote. So they did hunt down some friends of his, and they found them.
So, you said that, so maybe he expanded upon the story that he told about his flying career in Fate is the Hunter. But I do recall in the credits it said it was based on Ernest Gann's book, Island in the Sky.
Yep. Yeah, he lost a friend and they lost
so he released the book after. Okay, so the book came out in 1961, I see.
Exactly. And he and I guess like we were talking earlier, there was in northern Canada during World War II where this actually took place in real life from Gann's autobiography. I got a challenge question for you, Greg.
You got one?
I don't know if you've already read it, but maybe you didn't.
I have not.
What do you think the budget of this movie was?
1953?
Yeah.
God. You said it's all practical? The airplane shots and everything? Like it's actual airplanes?
Practical or like a tiny bit of set work, but not much.
It models, do you know? I'm going with $800,000.
Pretty close. $967,000.
No.
It's estimated, so you could be...
I could be right on.
Yeah, for all we know.
Yeah, I could be spot on.
You're estimated too. How is your number any less valid than her number? You both estimated.
I'm not estimated. I exist. I'm right here in front of you.
Prove it.
Open your eyes?
Nope.
Literally in the same room as me? How did you even get here with your eyes closed, by the way? You haven't opened them since you've gotten here.
It's a fun game I play.
I'm impressed. Honestly, I
just haven't left since last time we did a podcast. my
that
corner.
Explains why I saw your car across the street for the last 3 weeks.
That's what the corner's for. Yeah, Liz and I broke up. I didn't want to tell anybody.
Yeah, I understand.
She dumped me. I have a similar corner at our house, and it just got to be too much.
Worse women have dumped you. So.
Yeah, worse women have dumped me. That is a true story. Now we're talking facts. So They're searching for him. They're hard to find because they're going to have the same compass issues
like
that Dooley's having.
A million square miles or some shit. Well, probably several hundred square miles at least that they have an idea of where to look. And they're tiny people. Of course, it's going to be hard to find.
Yeah, he was able to send longitude, but that's it. No latitude. So they're just like flying across this line, hoping to like get lucky and find them.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what this movie is. It is.
God, it's so boring.
Watching the three teams in their cockpits.
Did I cover it at the beginning where I said it's conversations in offices and then conversations in airplanes and then conversations in the snow? Nothing happens in this movie. There's no real drama.
There's one piece of drama. Two pieces of drama.
Why don't you tell me the drama, Richard? And I'll tell you how stupid it is.
Well, Frank dies.
Frank was an idiot who walked out in the middle of a snowstorm to go, quote unquote, hunting. He deserved to die. All that was survival of the fittest, showing what it actually means.
What would
the
happen?
The man walked out in negative, however cold temperatures with a shotgun to go hunting in the wilds in the winter of northern Quebec. He made a bad decision that led to his untimely death, which frankly was probably far too long.
Yeah, he was a Franksicle at the end. And he died like 3 feet from the nose of the plane because had no visibility. It was a snowstorm. Tail of the plane. You're right. Tail of the plane. There was no visibility. That was kind of a dramatic scene. I didn't want Frank to die.
I didn't care. Okay. I didn't care about any of them.
Well, you're a monster.
I am.
And then we could talk about it more in the next section. But when the rescue planes do fly over and miss them entirely at one point. Yeah.
Oh.
So the whole time that they're on this island, the only thing that Papa Dooley's doing, and the only thing their team is doing is sending out SOSs through the battery of the plane, and they have this crank thing they call the coffee grinder.
Yeah.
And they're cranking that thing to send out weaker signals.
Right.
And they're talking a little bit, but not even about their lives. At the end of the movie, you find out that the characters are surprised to find out that Frank has a wife and kid. It's like, you guys had all this time, 6 days.
Right.
You didn't have a little conversation about.
They probably, I presume they knew each other prior, but I guess they might not have. They could have just been thrown together.
Well, you know, Greg, men's men don't talk
about their feelings. And that reminds me, did I talk while we were recording about the one scene where somebody's like, Dooley's alive, guys, and he like wipes his nose with his handkerchief, and the co-pilot is looking like, why is this guy showing emotion? And he looks disgusted with the pilot for showing that he cared about Frank Dooley or Captain Dooley.
Yeah,
not Frank Dooley. It's
whatever's customary.
Papa Dooley, I think, is his first name is Papa, right? Papa Dooley.
Papa Dooley. Yeah.
Papa Dooley.
Whatever's customary.
Yeah, whatever's customary.
There's a guy whose only line in this movie is to say, whatever's customary.
Yep.
He's comic relief. You know, when your friends are freezing to death in the snow, you need that guy.
You need somebody to break the ice. Get
it? Yeah, I do get it.
You know what? That calls for a middle C.
Well, we are, believe it or not, through the first 2 acts of this fucking movie.
Yeah, and I'm hungry, and you look delicious. Like, I'm looking at you much like a cartoon character peers across a boat stranded in the ocean. You're starting to look like a giant drumstick.
That's because I'm wearing a chicken costume.
Oh, that does explain a lot. I thought I was going mad with hunger.
You thought I lost weight. I get it.
Lost weight. Anyway, we'll be back with the final act and our final thoughts and all sorts of finality.
Yeah.
Not as final as Frank.
No,
Frank's dead.
Frank's dead, man.
So why don't you guys think about that?
Moment of silence break for Frank.
Moment of silence for old Frankie boy.
Old Frankster. The Franksicle.
Franksicle. I'm going to be Frank.
Can I be Sharon?
I was playing dead and Frozen.
Oh, yeah. I could tell. I thought that was like your normal,
Yeah,
comedy.
it's I have resting dead and Frozen face.
Face.
All right, we'll be back.
His patriotism has never wavered, but today he's a little disillusioned with modern America.
We're being represented by men who are kowtowing to minorities where they can get votes. And I think it's bad for our country. And I am sad to see minorities make so much of themselves as a hyphenated American. I wish they'd all get to thinking that they're Americans as they should and as they have
luckily been born here and couldn't be better off in any other place. There shouldn't be so much whining and belly aching.
Guys, we're back for the stunning conclusion. So let's actually all get our seat backs in the upright locked position. Make sure your seatbelts are buckled, fastened, whatever you want to call it. Get your, don't recline. Reclining's bad for the landing, especially since we're going to be landing on a frozen lake in the middle of northern Quebec.
And we're all going to die anyways.
Presently. Yeah, not shortly. I'm not a pilot, so it was a really bad decision for me to take off. Worst decision for you to get on.
Why they gave me this job? I have no idea.
I know the owner's husband.
Oh,
so
nepotism.
Yep.
Before we get to the end, I got a couple more facts for Richard's Fact Corner.
Hang on, Richard's Fact. I'm going to play you into Richard's Fact Corner. Middle C.
Thank you.
Anytime.
This one's for you, Greg. This is a great one. I thought you would like this one.
Is it about Middle C?
No, yeah, it could be though.
All right, hit me.
This was one of the first 3 films released theatrically.
Yeah, I just read that.
That uses Warner Phonic sound. It's an early 4-channel surround sound system. You can't find a version of this with that, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
it's all mono. It's not even stereo.
Probably because nobody playing the home game had that kind of setup in their houses.
Nor do they know how to mix it down in a way to be like.
So like any re-releases that would have been done for video when it was first released would have been really friggin' basic. So
right, yeah,
beta or over the air. That would have been about it for there was nothing before Betamax tapes, right? That I can think of for playing it.
There might have been like really expensive Laserdisc setups or something.
No, reel-to-reel stuff.
Yeah.
That's Richard's Fact Corner.
That's the one I want to get in there. I thought that would be great. I thought you would like that one.
Middle C. Well, I, for one, really want to talk about everybody getting rescued.
Yeah.
I saw the plane fly over. That was a dramatic moment.
They had 3 planes go right by them, missed them
right
entirely.
over their heads, and they were like,
Nothing
what?
they could do.
Maybe we should get that flare gun ready in case we see these motherfuckers again.
Yeah.
But they, God forbid they would have been prepared the first time.
Papa Dooley goes,
why don't you boys go down there and get the flare gun, Pilgrim?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And so we have it ready. That and the pistols, we have it ready. And
that way we can kill them all when they come to rescue us, so we have some food.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple things I want to note before we move on to the end of this movie. One is they bury Frank, which I have no idea how they managed to do.
He dug a hole at the roots of that tree earlier, too.
Yeah.
While Frank was out hunting, and I was like, why would they even fucking bother? The permafrost layer there would have been really thick that time of year, and they just have like a pretty basic shovel.
And you're all like starving. You're gonna spend energy to
drag. That's the energy you need to spend.
A dead body. You're not gonna give it back to his wife when you guys go home.
Well, to be fair, they didn't know they were ever gonna go home.
Fair enough.
So,
but you're just gonna leave them buried underneath that tree. You're not gonna go dig them up. What a waste. Yeah. So the Franksicle got buried, and that was pretty wasteful. But they had to kill some more film time because it already wasn't a 2-hour movie of nothing happening.
Right. It was very important that nothing happened in a way that we had to endure somebody doing manual labor in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And then standing around the hole they dug. I've got to say, of all the weird fucking shit we do as humans, putting dead people in holes and then standing around those holes is the weirdest.
Yeah. It's like
there are so many other ways you could celebrate the life of your family members. When I go, if I do get an actual funeral plot for whatever or a cemetery plot for some reason, which I do not want, I want to be. I mean, ideally, you just like let wolves eat me or something. That would be fine.
Oh, feed nature, yeah.
Fuck it. Just put me somewhere where my body will serve nature and maybe do a little bit of undo a little bit of the damage humanity has done. Don't embalm me. Don't do shit to my body. Just fucking feed me to something.
Honestly, that's that or like I'm thinking about donating myself to medical science.
That's a good idea. Yeah, donation to medical science. That way we can maybe they'll bring us back one day. Yeah. They'll just be like, well, we have this brain that's in formaldehyde. Maybe we can bring that back too, guys.
Ooh.
We'll be somebody's crazy mad science.
Because that's what they'll think. They'll be like, this is the guy we need to bring back.
Yeah.
This guy.
They'll have mislabeled the jar.
It'll be change my name to Abraham Lincoln. Like the great emancipator.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my full name. So when when they look at the thing, they're like, well, it's got to
Shit,
be.
we've got Abe Lincoln's brain.
It's got to be the
I
right
thought
one.
they got the shit blown out of it by a fucking guy in a theater.
All lies. It's got to be the right one. It's called the Great Emancipator. Who else would call themselves that?
Nobody would ever call themselves that. Somebody had to have put this label on there deliberately. It's got to be him.
It's got to be him.
Got to be him.
And when I get brought back, I'm just going to just be like,
So anyway, we stand
Fell
around a
for
hole on an island in a frozen lake.
fell for it.
And then the airplanes come and they decide that instead of rescuing people, they're just going to like throw food at them and fly away.
They just don't.
It's like, look at these idiots. Let's feed them. Trick them into thinking we're coming back.
They do.
Which I guess was a possibility, right?
Yeah.
There's always the chance that they could never find them again after they've stopped and dropped food off.
I do like my headcanon where they shoot the plane out of the sky.
Yeah. He
you
got
see
the
us now,
pistol for a
motherfucker?
reason, so blast those motherfuckers.
See us now, motherfuckers?
Yeah.
Bet you now he sees us.
Flew past us. Bam, 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 bam. Steal the plane and fly away.
Dinner's on, boys.
First they eat the crew, then they steal the plane and fly home to eat the entire city that they live in.
That's a John Wayne movie I want to see.
That is the John Wayne movie I want to see. The four of them flying back to whatever city they're from. As soon as they get off the plane, they go on a killing and eating spree.
And nobody knows how to stop John Wayne because he's such a man.
We can't shoot John Wayne, and when they try, the bullets bounce right off of him. He's just eating everyone. He's unstoppable.
If you're not stomach cancer, you can't stop John Wayne.
The only thing that can stop John Wayne is disease.
Well, it's like a monster movie. His outside is so hard, you have to go through the inside to kill John Wayne. So they shoot a flare.
Shoot a flare, and they get food.
They see them. I guess they also saw them because the radio, their little coffee grinder radio was making their compasses bounce around.
Yeah.
That was like, most of the movie we were like, are you listening hard enough? I'm listening. But are you listening hard enough? I'm listening hard enough. Oh, there's some suspense because they're like, should we go back and check over again the same place? Or should we go to a new place? And they left it and cut to the next scene. He had no idea what they're going to do.
Nope. That was it. Do they go back to the place they were pretty sure the people were, or do they go somewhere that they totally have no idea? It's a good thought process.
I didn't know how this movie was going to end because of some of the movies we've already seen, these older movies.
Yeah, I was surprised, but when I it's a 50s John Wayne movie. I knew it had to have at least a mostly happy ending, and it pretty much did. The only person that died was Frank, and who gives a shit about Frank except for his wife and kid? All right, Richard, tell me what you liked, you didn't like, and then give me the final Richter scale score. Whatever scale you want to use. I don't care if it's.
I like the Richter scale.
I like the Richter scales too. It's a nice play on words for disasters and earthquakes or disasters. You know, it works.
In the comedy scene, they call it a pun.
Pun? It might be a wordplay.
Wordplay?
Could be a pun.
What I like about these movies, I always like about these movies, is the window into the era you get. That's always going to
peephole into the era. It's always going to amuse me a little bit to see that. I also thought that some of the shots were really great. What I don't like about this movie is just about everything else. To sum it all up, this movie is like the movie Alive, if you know none of spectacle, heroism, or cannibalism. Yeah.
So all the stuff that made the movie Alive interesting.
Right. If you strip all of the interesting things out of Alive, what do you get?
This movie.
4 cold people waiting for somebody to give them a ride home.
You know, and they should have ate Frank. It's fucking infuriating if they didn't even consider eating Frank.
They might have, but they didn't certainly put it in the movie.
It was too Christian to do that, I think. You know what I mean? We would never do that. We'd rather die. Fuck that.
Right.
He dead. Eat him. So I give this movie a 4.36 on the Richter scale.
4.36 on the Richter scale.
I watched it 3 times, Greg.
I know, but
it was so hard.
It seems a little high.
You really? No, it's a small earthquake of a movie.
Yeah, tiny earthquake.
Well, Greg, you know, I'm dying.
No, you're actually dying, yes, because I'm killing you. That's literally what's happening. You don't have to tell me. I know.
Yeah, can we take the pins out of my wrist?
Nope.
Okay, great. How do you feel about this movie?
So, I liked the airplanes, and some of the camera work in the movie was cool. The sound was decent as far as the sound effects and all that good stuff. It seemed it was not as the word crunchy comes to mind when I watch old movies. They just don't sound great. But this one did not fall victim to that. It was pretty decent sound quality.
No wrappers or papers go like they do in those old movies. Yeah.
Right. I did not like the fact that there were virtually no subplots that added anything of value to the overall feel of the movie. There was no like redemption arc. There were no characters doing anything, taking them out of their comfort zone outside of being cold. I never really felt like anybody was at risk of anything except when Frank made his dumb decision to go out in a blizzard with a fucking shotgun in hopes of finding a wild animal. I get the desperate times thing, but there are better desperate times, like when it's not a fucking blizzard out. Yeah, I was not in love with this guy. I would say Island in the Sky is probably right around a 4.2-ish on the Gregter scale.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Or like you're copying me a little bit, but just going a little lower.
You know, I didn't want to be, I want to be cooler. And in this case, lower is cooler.
Yeah. Negative 40 degrees was the temperature.
I'm going to give this movie a middle C.
It's passing.
We will catch you next week.
Yeah.
You can, or next time we play anyway. So we've got, you know, the
We're gonna
Wad
watch
Pod on the
Godzillas
Twitter.
next week, I think.
Will you
The
chill
Godzillas.
out? Let me close this out. Fine. We're going to watch Godzilla next week since Richard wants to tell us
2000.
that. Godzilla 2000 starring Matthew Broderick and that French guy that's in The Professional.
Pierre, probably.
I don't remember
French.
his name. Yeah, Pierre. Pierre, he's here from France. He's ready to complain about your coffee and croissants. Oh, yeah, that's what's going to be on the next episode of the What It Is Ash podcast. In the meantime, once again, Wad Pod on is it Podwad or Wad Pod? Look at your little notes. It's Podwad. Podwad on the Twit. Podwad on Twit. Wad Podcast on Instagram. Find us on the Facebook. Give us likes and reviews or whatever it is that you do to give us positive feedback in the podcast thingies of your choice. Glad to have those.
Glad to have you.
I would very much like to keep you as a listener. So you look really nice today, and it means a lot to me that you're here, and I appreciate you as a person. Your self-worth should not be tied to anything except for how often you listen to us.
Right. You're a kind person because you hit play on this.
Exactly. And I think, you have anything else you wanted to add? Anything you got going on?
I was just going to say that if you're not listening to this, then you're fucking useless.
Yeah.
Completely useless to me.
For sure. And I think that we'll give you one last middle C.
Middle C. Perfect.
There it is.
Oh, you're so good at that middle C.
You know what? Let's give you one last loud middle C.
Velocity.
That's right. All right. Catch you next time. Thanks.
Yes, I do.
Do you like oatmeal?
No, I don't. Unless you fart on it.
Do you like fart oatmeal?
Yes.
Little C.
Did you see my right back in? I like yours better, but my
Oh,
right
let's
back
go. I'm gonna read you what Richard wrote. Welcome back. We're still here. Richards needs to stop complaining he still has a whole other leg that I didn't eat, so he'll be fine. We're now ready to discuss the final act and ending of Island in the Sky.
That voice.
I think the voice really helped.
It does. It sounds just like me. That's a weird part.
Yeah. Middle C.